we're here at GP St. Pete, and we have some interviews lined up for you guys, and it feels so great to be back inside the track. I love it here, and I will see you guys later while we get on with this. Woo-hoo!
It's time for another On the Spot. On the Spot.
One thing fans say is missing in IndyCar are classic rivalries. A lot of potential rivalries turn into friendships. Brian Herta says all that started with Greg Moore.
You know, he really rallied drivers together. He was kind of the ringmaster between a lot of those guys, hanging out and doing stuff away from the track. Before that, you didn't see a lot of drivers spending time together. And he was really one of the first guys that started getting the guys together away from the track, and that was created a sense of camaraderie. Is
this a good thing or a bad thing?
That's actually a really good question. Honestly, I always try and just be myself. You know, sometimes there are things that you want to say but you can't, and you kind of just have to swallow it and you know, put a pretty face on and smile.
Because everyone's too afraid of the public light. That's a true statement right there. No one, like, you could pin up a lot of things. Me and Herta, me and Hunter Ray, your teammates. The good thing about the IndyCar, it's that everybody's all together. But then when we want to race and when we go out on racing, everybody fights each other, which is super cool.
I think you could go either way. I think there has been like some pretty major rivalries, and one of them in the 90s was with my dad and Zanardi. So, I guess we are missing a few rivalries.
That's something you cannot force. I think either happens or it doesn't, and it's slight evolution. I think it depends on the characters involved.
Really, when you talk about any sport, rivalry is good. And in terms of the current paddock, what you have a lot is a lot of these guys have driven together for 10 plus years. You know, a lot of these guys, especially with the road to Indy, you have these drivers who have driven together, who have hung out together, who have known each other for a decade before they even get to IndyCar. You get that more inherent friendship it's hard, you know, even it's more of a friendly rivalry thing. You know, you don't have the sort of old school rivalries where, you know, the blood boil is genuine.
Obviously they're good for a series. You know, I think everybody likes a little controversy, you know, and so it wouldn't make me upset if you saw, you know, one driver going after another outside of the car. I think it's just good for the sport. You know, whenever that's happened, next thing you know, you're on Sports Center, you know, and I think that's only good for the sport. So, I say let them go at it.
It gets good publicity, right?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, we are an entertainment, so people want to see rivalries, like you said. People want to see fights. They want to see competitiveness.
For me, I don't really think it makes a difference. I think it's more of a thing for the fans than the people. Obviously, it's not really that enjoyable to have a rivalry because you don't really like somebody that you're racing against, which isn't always enjoyable because you guys might race each other a little dirtier or whatnot. So I think for us, it's a little bit better because the racing's a little more clean and convenient. But I wouldn't be too sure to say like there isn't any completely. I mean, I don't think any of the guys really don't like each other, but there's definitely some guys that have had problems in the past of contact that might race each other a little bit tougher than they'd race other guys.
AJ Foyt and I, because he was 5 years my senior, and when I arrived on the top scene, he was already established and a champion, and I was a real thorn on his side. So, you know, that's how it developed. But it depends on the character, you know. AJ was, very protective, and some of the guys now, they're even too nice, you know, so.
I mean, I have great relationships with a lot of the drivers. I have a lot of respect for the elder drivers. I think a lot of the young drivers are missing that, in my opinion, the respect towards the older drivers. I mean, it was nice to have Sebastian as a teammate for a year. because he is a 4-time champion. No one's ever going to take that away from him, and he is a fantastic driver, so I got to learn a lot.
It is a very emotional sport itself, not just the driver, but the team owners, the sponsors. But there are a lot of eyes, so you have to contain yourself sometimes. So I feel like some of the rivalries aren't really seen as much. But I can tell you there are some for sure.
I think it's something that you'll see in the upcoming years, especially between the younger drivers. I think you'll start to see some more Sebastian Bourdais, Paul Tracy. Maybe not as to the extent of wrecking cars like they did, but it might be quite fun.
The effects of these drivers knowing each other for so long and racing each other for so long is that there's this familiarity, there becomes this camaraderie, so it becomes much harder for those sort of genuine bad blood rivalries to materialize.
You probably see some rivalries coming on now between, say, Colton, Herta, and some of the established ones like, of course, Will Power, as a, top qualifier, and also Scott Dixon, one of the winningest ones, and, that type of thing, but hasn't really developed into something like,
It's more from a weekend where someone makes a mistake and ruins someone else's race, and then by the next weekend it's sort of blown over. Colton and Palou coming in at the same time, being rivals in Indy Lights, having their rivalry in Indy Lights was a little more old school than most, but at the end of the day, their personal relationship never really took a hit because, again, they're two guys who had known each other for a very long time.
Some might say you and Pato have a potential for good long-standing on-track rivalry, given your history so far. What do you say about that?
I think me and Pato probably do have a little bit of rivalry coming from Indy Lights, and we raced against each other a lot in go-karts too, so we've been racing against each other for a long time.
Yeah, I think with Colton and I, it's something that other drivers have had together, like Canan and Elio, Joseph and Rossi, Dixon Power. So I feel like guys that you've been racing with ever since you're a kid, and then you make it to the star category. But at the end of the day, it's just obviously bigger, more powerful, better, but it is another race car.
I think for us it's a little different than like I guess your typical rivalry in IndyCar, because we're buddies and we don't really race each other. We race each other extremely clean. Obviously, we really want to beat each other, and maybe that rivalry just comes from when we were racing together for all this time. So yeah, that's one of the few guys that in IndyCar, if I really can't name any that I raced against in go-karts a lot, and like we both made it all the way up.
When you talk about guys like Santino or Felix or Pato or the other rookies that came in with Colton, though there is that rivalry in terms of you always want to beat your contemporaries, there isn't really any that have gotten to the point where there's any dislike of any kind between any of these guys.
Is it too soon for you already to feel like every time you're around someone out there that if they keep it up, they'll be a rival soon?
Yeah, I mean, that's how rivalries are made. So I think it's definitely possible. I don't know. Maybe not.
Would you say you and Colton have a potential for a good, long-standing on-track rivalry, given your competitive rookie seasons?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of respect for him. I don't like him very much. I think that's very clear. And I think he'd say the same thing about me. I mean, he was in different equipment the first year in our rookie season, and we made massive improvements to catch up. I think as wheel-to-wheel goes, I think I have a little bit better racecraft, especially on the ovals. So it's one of those things where I think maybe in the upcoming year it might be more apparent, but as far as someone that I'm not giving any room to, it'd be that guy. I think it's really good for the fans to see that we are all together, but sometimes we also fight each other. I think that's a naturality of the sport.
Well, that says it all starts here, but actually all ends here, and so does my video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I had tons of fun. I mean, the interviews, everybody here, the energy, it was amazing. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. So I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, like, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, bye!